Formula One is one of the most beloved racing sports in the world. The fans are very devoted and love to talk about who are the best racers. These arguments get very heated, so today we are going to rank some drivers. Today we will discuss the most loved and hated F1 drivers ranked. You won't want to miss this list. First up, we have the most loved ones. First up on the list is number 5, Fernando Alonso. The Spanish driver won 3 racing championships in a row in Spain from 94 to 97. He was also known as the 3rd youngest driver ever to debut in the international event in Formula One history. During the 2001 Australian Grand Prix, Alonso drove for the first time. This led to his first win during the 2003 Hungarian Grand Prix, which was in his first year with Renault. Fernando Alonso also went on to win 2 consecutive seasons back in 2005 and 2006 in the Formula One World Drivers' Championships. His final race was during the 2014 Belgian Grand Prix where he placed 4th. There's no wonder he's regarded as one of the best. Next up is number 4, Sebastian Vettel. The current Red Bull Racing driver Sebastian Vettel debuted in 2007 and achieved the 7th position. In 2008, he was voted Rookie of the Year at the annual Autosports Awards, and in the 14th race of the 2008 Formula One season, Vettel won his first Grand Prix title. 2009 was a great year for him as it was the first year he raced for Red Bull during the Formula One season. This was also where he finished as the youngest ever World Drivers' Championship runner-up. Later, he also won the Formula One World Drivers' Championship 4 consecutive times from 2010 to 2013. Up until now, Vettel has gained 29 wins in Grand Prix, 45 pole positions, and 1,549 career points in total. Next up, number 3, Lewis Hamilton. As one of the best racing car drivers in the world, Lewis Hamilton stands tall at the number 3 spot. With his 98 race victories and 171 podium finishes, he's one of the greats. The racer has driven under Mercedes, Manor Motorsport, ASM Formula 3, and Art Grand Prix. During his time under Mercedes, he helped them win the Formula One World Constructors' Championship 7 times consecutively since 2014. He also achieved the Formula One World Drivers' Championship a grand total of 7 times as of writing this video. Hamilton has also achieved the DHL Fastest Lap Award a whopping 5 times as of now. He received both the Autosport International Racing Award and the Autosport British Competition Driver of the Year Award 7 times each. Next up, number 2, Michael Schumacher. In the second spot on this list is the legendary Michael Schumacher. Schumacher was the world's first billionaire athlete. During his 91 Belgian Grand Prix debut, the driver finished 7th, and in 92, he achieved his first Drivers' Championship title. Schumacher is the only Formula One driver in history to finish in first position in 5 consecutive seasons. He achieved this between 2000 and 2004. His last win was in 2006 during the 2006 Chinese Grand Prix. He then went on to work as a brand ambassador for Ferrari and work as a car developer for them as well. The last race of his career was in 2012 during the Brazilian Grand Prix where he finished 14th place. With 91 wins and 72 Grand Prix victories, Michael Schumacher is without a doubt one of the best Formula One drivers in history. And finally, number 1, Ayrton Senna. Finally, the number 1 spot goes to Ayrton Senna, the legendary Brazilian Formula One racing champion. Senna made his professional driving debut during the Brazilian Grand Prix in 1984, where he qualified in 17th place. The second race of his career was in the Portuguese Grand Prix that took place back in 1985. In this race, he achieved his first World Championship point. The driver won the title of Formula One World Champion for drivers in 1988, and he won the same for a second time in 1990. He won the title for the 3rd time in 91, where he became the youngest 3-time world champion. Senna then won his last race during the 93 Australian Grand Prix. Sadly, due to significant blood loss after an accident in 94, Senna passed away. Senna had an amazing and glorious career, which makes him the most loved Formula One driver according to our list. And now on to the most hated F1 drivers. First up, we have number 5, Michael Schumacher. The first one on this part of the list is a little surprising. He may have been on our most loved list, but on the other hand, he's also one of the most hated racers. So why is he on the most hated list? Well, it comes down to what people call his questionable sportsmanship. During his career, he has definitely been a star racer, but some of the incidents he has been a part of stand out as some of the worst. Times where he was disqualified or just acting really poorly all stack up to make him one of the most hated drivers in some cases. These incidents really mark his career, so it makes sense for him to appear on this list. Next up is number 4, Nelson Piquet. Though Nelson Piquet was one of the most popular racers at the time and people still remember him for what he did, his antics off the course just didn't sit well with people. He was known for his practical jokes on his fellow racers throughout his famed career. Over time, these have tainted his name and become synonymous with rough behavior on and off the track. One of the worst things we've seen him do was call Ayrton Senna a Sao Paulo taxi driver. This was just uncalled for and really marked his name and reputation. He takes the 4th place on the most hated F1 racers list. Next up is Number 3. Alain Prost. Alain Prost was already someone that people didn't like all too much due to his conflict with certain racers at the time. During the documentary Senna, which became highly popular when it came out, the world got to see some more controversy that occurred with the racer. Outside of his other controversy throughout his career, he didn't really get along with famed racer Ayrton Senna. During the documentary, the world found out that when Prost joined Williams, he had a secret clause in his contract that made sure Senna could never join him as a teammate. This was just really petty and made him one of the most hated racers in Formula 1. Next up is Number 2. Andrea de Cesaris. Compared to everyone else on this worst list, Andrea de Cesaris is also known for being hated due to his on-track antics. He was someone people love to hate, but his controversial moments on the track really made people hate him more. He was famous for ruining others' racers with his incorrect and wrong driving style. He caused so many issues with his incorrect driving and was eventually removed from his team at the time. He actually carried on driving until '94, even after his '85 removal. He is the 2nd most hated F1 racing driver on our list. And finally, we now have Number 1. Jacques Villeneuve. He's one of my favorite drivers, and the worst person on our list is Jacques Villeneuve. For the most part, we saw him talk with lots of respect and maturity, but over time we saw him come out with some really hot takes and some very unnecessary comments made about other people in the industry. He made a really poor comment about Robert Kubica, who had a disability. He said, "It is not good for the sport if anyone with a disability can participate, at least not in Formula 1, perhaps in other classes." This was just really uncalled for and was really poor on his part. He was panned throughout the industry and became a hated man. He still expresses his poor opinions, which makes people hate him even more. He takes the top spot on the list of the most hated Formula 1 drivers. And that's the end of the list. Though there are honorable mentions like Jenson Button, we went over the most loved drivers in Formula 1 history, each one of them holds a special place in the hearts of all Formula 1 fans and drivers. This is especially true for our number 1 pick of Ayrton Senna. The most loved drivers were really amazing and some of the best in the sport overall. On the other side of things, we also had the most hated Formula 1 drivers where we saw some really poor actions and takes. These people are surely good drivers, but are just known for their antics in whatever space they are in. They aren't just racers that people like all that much. Even Michael Schumacher, who is one of the most loved racers, just isn't the best in some eyes. At the end of the day, this was all just opinion and people can think whatever they want about specific racers. Some may love Schumacher and some may hate him. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. That's the end of the video. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, let us know down in the comments below. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe with notifications on. Thanks for watching.